Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. I am really excited to announce our next little series of episodes. We're going to be talking to the sponsors of the show. So today, I'm talking with Heather Hendrickson. Heather, how are you?
I am doing really well. How are you?
Doing well. Heather and I are members of the same BNI chapter, and one of the reasons that we first connected, I think, and make friends is because, so I have Tourette syndrome. Mm-hmm. Heather uses a wheelchair. And so as the two, visible disabilities, disabled. I don't know. I think we connected quickly because of that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Absolutely. I'm excited to dive into that. But first, before we do that, as a sponsor of the show, I want you to tell us about your business.
Yes, I have an insurance agency called the Hendrickson Agency, and we are a farmer's insurance office, but we also offer kind of a brokerage with a lot of other products. So we do everything from personal to commercial, even your pets, because they matter to you. And then we also have life and health options. So we try to be the one-stop shop. We really try to be different and care about people before the policy. And I'm just really excited for all that my team and I are able to do here in the area.
That's great. Well, we'll be sure to put the links to your business in the show notes. And also, I want to call out, you have a podcast. You're a podcast host. Yeah, Heather's Most Precious. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see that we're in a different set. This is the set for Heather's Most Precious. So, Heather, thank you for letting us kind of come in and do a little crossover episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so rewinding to what we were talking about before, talking about using a wheelchair. So I know your story. So you're somebody who has not always used a wheelchair.
Right.
Right? And is that 2 years, 3 years?
Coming up on 4 years.
4 years. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. What are some of the differences that you've seen just like in your life experience out and about in public as you're interacting with people, networking? Like, what's the difference pre-wheelchair versus now?
Pre-wheelchair, I could walk. So it was just easy. You could physically walk up to anybody, give them a card. You're at the same level, and so that was helpful. And you didn't think about it. It was networking. You were able to physically go meet them for lunch, and it wasn't. Nothing was really a hardship in those ways that you don't realize to be grateful for. Post, obviously, getting rides and making sure like you can get to places, or like when we do one-to-one or one-to-ones, I'm happy to try to meet someone, but it's so much easier if they can just come to me. Right. And then you feel bad asking, people to accommodate, but at the same time, it just makes it easier. And I think this will sound silly, but a lot of times I feel like a child in a stroller because you wheel into the room and a lot of people will stare. I'm like, oh, that's a cute baby. But they don't approach. And I'm not sure what that is. I don't know if they don't know what to say or if, I have no idea. I don't know what that is. Yeah. Or like if you're in a food line, like at a buffet for, something, and either I can't reach or, I'm trying to do a plate and, very few people offer to help. And so all of that just makes it harder too because you're trying to juggle, and then you've got to get to a table, and then you've got to remove the chair so that you can sit up, and then you're worried that, oh my gosh, is that chair in the way for somebody else? And anyway, it's a hardship in those ways, but not, I don't view myself as a hardship, so I want to separate that. Yeah. Right? It just, everything is made just a little more difficult. And I think like even I've gone into places and, everyone's standing at these tall tables and talking, and they don't even see me because, I'm just like, hey guys,
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like there's a couple layers that you're talking about there. For one, you talked about the difference of like kind of naturally being at eye level versus, now not. And that the logistical aspects of there's these chairs and there's, like that, all of that creates this kind of just buffer layer that has nothing to do with you, has nothing to do with whatever. And I've noticed, so Tourette syndrome, for folks that don't know, like it has severity, right? It goes up and it goes down within somebody's life. And I've noticed that in some of the more severe times when I have a lot of like facial things happening, I actually can't keep eye contact longer. And just because I'm looking away, I'm blinking. Right. And I've kind of noticed just like subtle things of like how that, and it may not necessarily be automatically bad. I mean, you know, whatever, but it just adds something, right? It adds that barrier. Yeah. So you talked about the example of the food line and people asking to help. So as somebody who's been in food lines with you, sometimes I don't want to assume that somebody can't do something.
Of course. Especially
if it's like a stranger. Oh, yeah. You and I make jokes about each other all the time. So it's a little different. But
we can make fun of each other.
Well, you know, is there some advice that you could give to somebody who wants to be helpful, wants to be kind, but also doesn't want to be patronizing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will never be wrong if you just say, hey, can I help you? Or may I help you? Because they can say, no, I've got it. Or they can say, oh my goodness, yes, please take something, help me, or just scoop the chips or whatever. And that, I mean, just common sense. I feel like common sense, right? I remember always when I was able-bodied, and like even in grocery stores, if I saw someone on the scooter, like they were reaching for, hey, can I get that for you? How many do you need, But I know it's not natural for everyone. I get that. I really do understand. But just that simple phrase, may I help you? So simple, doesn't have to be awkward. And that's something too, like even if you've already gotten your plate and you see someone, like if you see someone struggling, like just offer to help, offer a hand.
Yeah.
It's important.
Always leading with kindness is important. Always.
Your heart posture.
Yeah. I like that. Well, any other thoughts about this topic before we sign off?
I do want to give a shout out to Elaine. I know, like, I'm technically in her spot today, so
thanks, Elaine.
But
Elaine is also in the chapter.
She is. Yeah. This last speed dating round we were not speed dating. We were speed networking, and it was so fun at the CFC. But I was so grateful because, of course, when you go to a lot of these networking and you know you're going to be speed networking, there's a lot of tables. They're small to get through. I can't get through without hitting someone's stuff, or, I may not even be able to get all the way back. And before it started, she approached me and said, hey, do you want to move around, or do you want me to just start with you every time and you're sitting at the same table? Like, absolutely, I want to sit at the same table. I don't want to put someone else in a wheelchair by trying to move around.
Right.
And that meant so much to me. And she was like, yeah, that's why I asked. I just want to make sure. And instead of just assuming I would want to do that, or assuming that I'm fine and can go do that, she took the time to ask the question.
Yeah.
Wasn't offensive. And I could have said, no, I want to do it. It was a question, and it meant the world to me that she noticed and was proactive about it and helped me. And of course, I liked being number one the whole time. The first one to be called.
Of course.
I was like,
you would.
Yes, it's me. Anyway.
This podcast is produced by Chattanooga Podcast Studios, helping businesses and organizations make a deeper connection with their audience through the art of podcasting. An ideal referral for me would be a professional organization with a state or national presence. You can get in touch with me, Michael Crosa, by going to chatpod.com. That's chat with 2 T's, like Chattanooga, which is linked in the show notes below.
So fun.
Very cool. That's awesome. Well, Heather, thank you so much for sharing all that. I think this is a really special topic.
Of course.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast. My name is Michael Crosa from Chattanooga Podcast Studios. And special thanks today to 148 Studios and Daniel behind the cameras over here for hosting us today. If you've enjoyed the show, I hope that you'll like, subscribe, rate, review, do all those things. Share it with your friends. Share it with your chapters. Make sure you listen enough to count the CEUs, because that's what this is all about, right? Get the CEUs. Heather, I like making dad jokes.
Is it good?
I hope so.
Okay.
Why did the wheelchair fall over?
Why?
Because it was too tired. Oh, wait, they have 4 tires. The bicycle and fired. I'm fired. We'll be back again soon. Thanks so much for listening to the BNI Southeast Tennessee podcast.